So what if we said, this is the last Connections. Where are we going to go next week? There's some good places. We're going to go together. We're going to break up and go apart. Without the word commitment, that would be the reality. What if we heard, we'll still have Connections, but I'm not sure we'll have any music. Or how about some meditation? You know, we'll send out an email. It's kind of a coin flip. If I feel like doing a meditation, I'll do one. If not, I won't. We'll send out a little email 10 minutes before 10, just to see. Yep, we're going to have some music. Yeah, you know, we've decided we're going to have Connections today. In fact, Darcy flipped her coin, and so did Rose, and Debbie, and Billy, and Mary, and you know, we all flipped our coin the same way, and we're going to have music this week. We've decided we're going to have music this week. But we might not next week, because we're not really committed to it, but we sure like doing it when we want to, so we'll let you know. And if you show up Sunday and the blinds are open, then we're going to have church, and if the blinds are closed, then we're not going to have church. Just go ahead and keep rolling by. Now, on one hand, we can see the benefit of commitment, that we know every Sunday that we show up that we're going to be here with our friends, with God, with our spiritual selves, bringing our A game to whatever it is that we have to offer, to whatever it is that we can do. And we take a certain amount of confidence in that commitment that folks are making. That doesn't mean that commitment is always an easy thing. I remember not long ago I was talking with Mark, and he said, man, I just don't commit to nothing, man. I have never been to one single church every Sunday for a long period of time. No, not me. That's not my deal. Now, anybody who's been here for any length of time sees Mark each and every Sunday here, just as, well, Mary and I live here, so we're here before him, but otherwise we probably showed up at the same time. And after we used to be over at Cafe Unique, half the time he showed up earlier than we did, out putting stuff together and setting it all up and making it happen. Now this morning he jumps in his truck to come to church, and his truck had a problem, and it wasn't going to go. So he jumped on his motorcycle, and it didn't go. So he had to jump on his dirt bike, which you'll see in the garage. And if that wouldn't have started, my guess is we'd have seen his RV out front. Because he was on the way to get here. Because he was committed. Well, how much easier would it have been to have not been committed? To just made that phone call saying, hey look man, my truck isn't working, you're going to have to get through this one without me. If he was nice enough to make a phone call. What if we just expected that he'd be here, because he is every week, and so we just kind of set our you know, this is what we do, and this is what he does, this is what she does, and this is what they do, and then went, oh, well, there's no Mark. Well, gosh, we better hurry up and set stuff up, and you know, that's just the one half of commitment. Now let's look at the other half of commitment, the benefit part. We had the kind of the privilege of getting to know Darcy a little bit before she started being here every week, before she started singing every week, before she said, yep, I'm gonna do my best, and let's do it, and blah, and when she would play occasionally. And we've watched this growth. We've watched this confidence. We've watched this voice get even better. We've watched all this stuff, and then Rose. And we've watched this just blossom like a flower right in front of us. We get to watch all these things with each of us that comes through that commitment. I personally am nowhere near the man that I want to be, but I'm a long ways away from the dude I used to was. And I think that a lot of that has to do with every week. I'm here every week. I'm praying and saying, okay, God, how can you use me today? What can I do to help today? And being committed to doing it. Now in the New Thought movement, we give a lot of focus to the word intention. We give a lot of focus to the word manifestation. And we think about these things and we say, well, you know, I want this thing. Whatever this thing is, like in Mary's meditation, whatever this thing is that I want, wanting it is this. I would really, really like it if someone, something, some God, somebody will just hand it to me. I want it. That's a want. A goal is this thing that I want, I'm willing to put action towards. Well, in my mind, in a lot of cases, that's part of the manifestation process. Now, to turbocharge that is to say this thing that I want, that I'm willing to put action to, I'm willing to put continued action to. That's commitment. Now, any one of us could say, there's this thing that I want. Mary could say, and she has, because I know her, I really love meditation, I really love subconscious mind, and I really love hypnosis and hypnotherapy and all these things. But I've only got 3 meditations that I use in my practice, and I customize them a little bit for each person that I work with, but I've only got 3. I'm not sure if I could come up with a new meditation every week, and I'm not sure how that would grow my own consciousness, my own understanding, my own desire to help other folks. Well, she said that a year and a half ago, and we have yet to have a duplicate meditation in a year and a half. We've watched her grow. Now she could say, I want to be better at this thing. Or she could want to be better, make it a goal, and be here every Sunday, stretching herself outside her comfort zone and growing with and because of her commitment. Now when we look at the video of our buddy Nick, and we look at what, imagine that level of commitment that it takes to brush your teeth, or comb your hair, or shave, or and the thing that he wants so bad wasn't arms and legs. It was, I want to live independently. I want to be able to live independently. And each of these things, he said, what is keeping me from living independently? Well, it's a real pain to have somebody else brush my hair. How can we design it to where I can brush my own? I'd really like to do this, I'd really like to do that. And with those things, he's doing those things. Now, the other part is when we start talking about manifesting and a want going to a goal, going to a commitment, oftentimes the irony of the human condition is we tend to think that I'll be happy then. Once I have this thing, I've done this thing, I've accomplished this thing, have this thing that I want, then I will be happy because I have it. And then we scratch our heads when we see Whitney Houston have accomplished all of her things and then slid down. We said, well, how can that be? You have the things. When we listened to Nick yesterday, he talked about the pinnacle of his career about a year and a half ago. He got to talk to 280 million people live. Wow. He had 7 past presidents right there and talked in 10 countries and to this many people and was just, wow. All this stuff, did 600 sermons in a year. Just rocking it. Know what happened? Went happy. Know what happened? Dude burnt out. Burnt out. Went home, said, I quit. I'm burnt out. And he had the courage to tell people he was burnt out. He said for 3 days, he didn't even have the ability to pray. He just cried, and he cried, and he cried. And a few days later, his sentence, his prayer, made it to one word. Why? The next day, he added another couple words to his prayer. The next day, another couple words, and all of a sudden, it started to kind of come back to him. Now, part of that is priorities had shifted. He still loved what he was doing. He was just doing it too much. There was no him time. There was no time for him to be him. His then girlfriend just cradled him and was there for him when he was weeping. Well, 6 weeks ago, he got married to that same woman. And they had their honeymoon on the beach in Hawaii, and he now knows love in a way that he hasn't known love. And there can be 100 different purposes for that crash, for that breakdown. I bet it did amazing things for their relationship. I bet it got him to a whole different level of real within himself. I know it does for me. When I hit that wall and crash out, and we all have, we get to a whole new level of real inside us. Authentic. Prioritize what's really important in my life. I'm going to have more of it. And what is distracting me, what is kicking my butt, I am going to have less of it. And oftentimes, as we're all peacemakers at heart, we try to juggle so many things like the spinning plates, and we try to have so many going, and we can't let any of them down, and we can't. And oftentimes, it's that when we look around and everything shattered. It just crashed. We go, I failed. No, you didn't. Now you've given yourself the opportunity to see which plates you want up there. And the plates you want up there are the plates that you are willing to commit to. And those plates are willing to commit to you too. Now in those commitments, as I make my commitment, and Mary makes her commitment, and Darcy makes her commitment, and Mark makes his commitment, and we just go around the room with everybody, and then we start to put those commitments together, and now we've got strength. Now we've got together stronger than we are separately.
You got connection.
You got connection. And so when we look at today, when we look at commitment, is to look in your life that we don't have to go all the way to the crashing place. We don't have to do that. We're given this crazy thing called free will, that we can choose to just push pause, even while the plates are spinning. Say, this one here, that's a should plate. I do that one because I should. I don't know who we think holds this magic report card in the sky with our shoulds on it, but every time I've looked, it's a dry erase board. It's just a little etch-a-sketch. It's just not there unless we continue to put it there. And so when we look at the should things that take all this time that we don't really want to do, we don't have to commit to that thing that we should do. How different would you feel coming here today if, and I'm just picking on random people across the room, so you don't take it personal, but if Darcy said, well, I should play music today, I'd be like, okay. Well, I'm giving a message today because I know I should. Ooh, bring your A game, big guy. Man, none of us like to be on the other side of should. So let's put our shoulds down and commit to the things that are inside that we really, really want, that we already have, and not pushing it away by, I can't have. One of the things that I really enjoy about Nick, and it's a choice that we all have, and it's just magnifying glass around this guy, is we can all focus on what we don't have. Or we can all focus on what we do have. Now, inside of us, we look around the room and we are about 99% similar. From a standpoint, we all have 10 of these, and we all have 2 of these, and we all have 2 of those, and you know, the similarities are pretty intense. So are the differences, so are the uniquenesses to all of us. When you look at Nick, you go, oh, boy, that's different. From the ability to focus on what you don't have, arms and legs. I once did a class, and we were trying to really understand different folks with challenges. And so one of the days was talking about folks who were sight impaired. And so the challenge was that for a 24-hour period that we would blindfold ourselves and try to get along in that world. That was more challenging, and most of us didn't make it to 24 hours. When I've seen some of the videos with Nick where he's scooting along on a skateboard on his belly, I think, ooh, I've done that as a kid, and I think about that horizon line being this far up and just rolling. But then I think about the security that knows that if I should hit that bump, I can brace myself. I think, wow. You know, some different folks have fears of water. Just imagine if you didn't have the arms and legs part. That's just crazy. Now, the thing is not to exemplify, like to put on a pedestal Nick. Instead, is just to see how that applies to our lives. The things that we do have, we do have. We can make excuses. We've got excuses. Excuses are plentiful for anything that we really want, but we don't want to give ourselves permission to have yet. we've got this thing called an excuse. They can go in there and they're great because they're true. We don't even have to make this stuff up. I can't because dot 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 dot. I would admit that'd be real easy too, just like it is with each of us. Or we can focus on the parts that we do have. So, well, you know, I do have this, and I do have that, and I do have this, and if I put my do-haves together with your do-haves, together with your do-haves, then, oh yeah, we've got the creator of everything in our corner. God. We have our spiritual support staff of guides and angels saying, I'm here for you. Tag me in. And I'll close with this. One of the sentences that Nick said yesterday repeatedly was, do your best and let God do the rest. And I love that from two standpoints. The first is a call to action on our part to do our best. And the second part is when we come to those boulders, like in the meditation, that's when we tag in our partner. That's when we ask God to come in and move that obstacle from our way, or teach us whatever we need to learn to get over it, around it, or through it. Do your best. Let God do the rest. Thank you.